Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Adam Fishman. This is AFL One-on-One, and we are here with our very good friend, the senior political correspondent from JPost, Gil Hoffman, who is in his car somewhere in downtown Jerusalem. Gil, there's a lot going on that I wanted to talk to you about really quickly, as best as we can in the next few minutes that we have. You reported this morning, first of all, just as far as Corona, I just got over it. I know your daughter had it. Everyone seems to be having it right now. You just tweeted this morning that Gil Gamliel, member of Knesset, Gil Gamliel, has it for the second time. I just saw that the mayor of Jerusalem, Moshe Leon, has Corona now. Everyone has Corona, it seems, both in the government, in the coalition, in the opposition, everywhere around the country. So that's the first thing that everyone is dealing with here. And I guess the question is now going to, what is the strength of the coalition right now? It seems like there's different arguments every single day on every single law that comes out, every single discussion that starts up. There always seems, whether it's from the left or the right, somebody is about to bring the government down any moment, it seems. And then, of course, all the reports of the plea deals with Bibi Netanyahu, and whether or not that is going to, how that is going to affect the future here. And of course, how does that affect the future of the Likud? So all of those things, I would imagine, are related. And I will turn to you and ask you to just kind of get us up to speed here on the scuttlebutt that you hear around the Knesset with respect to all these things.
Wow. Well, it's a pleasure being with you here in the American Friends of Likud at a time of so many challenges here in Israeli politics. To answer your first question, Adam, the coalition is weaker than ever. They lost 5 votes in a row on Wednesday when the Ra'am party decided to boycott votes because of tree planting in the Negev. And it was a matter of principle. I mean, the trees were uprooted anyway. It was kind of pathetic that that's what would make the coalition lose votes to people that they dislike very much, like Miri Regev and Galit Distel Ataryan. But they did. They basically gave up. They walked out of the Knesset. And we thought, okay, it's just one day. And then on Monday, the draft bill, which is something that by law had to pass by the end of the month, the Supreme Court ruled that it had to pass by the end of the month. 3 governments in a row were supposed to pass it and didn't. Lost by a tie, a 54-54 tie, because an Arab member of Knesset and Meretz decided at the last minute that she's also upset about the tree planting in the Negev, as well as the citizenship bill that passed in the Ministerial Committee on Legislation on Sunday, which was already appealed. So if it was appealed, how can you protest it? It didn't make any sense. And what it shows is they're just in disarray. They don't have the discipline. The head of the coalition, Idit Silman, I don't know if her heart is even in it. Her own husband contributed to Netanyahu's defense fund and said in a radio interview today that if he had to vote between Bennett and Netanyahu, he would probably vote for Netanyahu, meaning vote against his own wife. Now, if you're going to think that, that's okay, but to say it out loud in public, that's pretty far-reaching at a time when your wife is failing at her job.
But what's the practical application of all this? I mean, we do see that it's weak as ever. There's constant infighting from left and from the right, and there's always a threat that it's about to fall. But yet somehow it continues to chug along. It's like the bicycle theory, right? You just have to pedal enough not to tip over.
No, it's not a bicycle theory. It's back to the same Bibi theory. Adam, everything going on in Israel relates to the Shakespearean overused cliche of to Bibi or not to Bibi. Everything. The tree planting in the Negev, why did it even happen? It happened because there was a guy who wants to run in Likud, who was the head of the workers' union in JNF, and the Likud talked to him, and they wanted to cause problems in the coalition now. And the way you cause problems in the coalition is by putting the right wing in the coalition and the Arabs in the coalition against each other. And the draft bill also, that's also related. Everything is connected to this current situation where we're in right now, where we're waiting to see whether Netanyahu will sign a plea agreement, which would cause the ultimate disarray in the coalition and make their glue be completely gone.
Give me some idea about what that means in terms of timing. First of all, before we even get to timing, what is the likelihood that he would reach a plea agreement? And if so, how does that play itself out?
Why are you asking me? Sarah Netanyahu, Yair Netanyahu, Avner Netanyahu. They are the only people who can answer your question. Other than that, everybody can only guess. It's their decision together with the opposition leader, no one else. And they're not going to decide until the last minute because that's what Netanyahu does. It happens to be the last minute is next Thursday.
That's because the Attorney General Mandelblit is about to step down. Is that correct?
Correct. They want to make an agreement while the Attorney General Mandelblit, who was Netanyahu's cabinet secretary, is still there. Now, you're talking about agreeing to the agreement by then. The dots and the lines and everything, the lawyers can still work on that for another month, while the interim Attorney General who favors the deal is in power. But before the new Attorney General starts a month later, it has to be done. So if you're talking about a timetable to answer your previous question, Adam, then let's say it's finalized and Netanyahu actually would quit if he decides to, which we have no idea, your end of February, then the Likud would then have to decide how to handle, how to elect a new leader and when. So there might be a process of Netanyahu trying to stay Likud leader that might have to go to court. And then there'll be challenges inside the internal Likud courts about how to handle the election, whether to have a temporary leader or the automatic temporary leader. Could be three different leaders, the automatic temporary leader followed by an elected temporary leader, followed by the leader who would be elected in primaries, which are clear in the Likud constitution have to happen, which could take up to 3 months. So now it's July. And the new Likud leader has to get his bearings. He or she, if you listen to Miri Regev, she started speaking like Merav Michaeli in feminine form of Shehi Tibacher, you know, when the leader of the party is elected, but in feminine form. There are 8 candidates and they're all men except for her. So you're talking about the government not being able to be toppled until probably after they come back from the holidays break in October. Between then and when Yair Lapid would take over as prime minister, which is not going to happen in June of 2023. So that's your window from fall to spring, basically.
And we don't have to go through another national election. What has to happen here, if I understand correctly, right, is that once the Likud gets their footing, then the question just simply becomes, how do we put together a no confidence motion for this government and 61 to replace it? Is that correct?
Correct. There would be what's called a constructive vote of no confidence in Bennett that you'd have to have 61 members of Knesset vote for, with an alternate candidate for prime minister who would be the leader of Likud. And then there would then be a period of time where that candidate for prime minister would have coalition negotiations to form a new government, which would be relatively easy because instead of having only 61 to choose from, as Bennett had, you would have 81 to choose from. 73 members of Knesset on the right, plus 8 from blue and white, who, if anyone knows their ideology, please email me it. So I think they would be part of any government that lets Benny Gantz continue to be the Minister of Defense and gives a couple places to his closest buddies. Yeah, they can form a government.
So let me ask you a question just from inside the Likud, the people that you've been speaking to in the Knesset. What is their view toward this plea deal and moving forward from this government? Are they for it? Are they not talking about it? Are they trying to? What is the thought inside?
Adam, do you think they're not talking about it? They're talking about only that, and they don't talk about anything other than Bibi. You know, there's one member of Knesset, there's a darling, Simcha Rothman, who says not everything is Bibi. Everything, like everything that happens, he tries to. This isn't because of Bibi, and that's because he's wrong. Everything connects, and that's all they're talking about. They're speculating, just like we are now. because this is something we've been waiting for, whether you like the former prime minister or not, that he's been around for 35 years. It's a very, very big change that would impact Israeli politics. It would open up for new leadership that is something so rare in this country. And nothing else can beat that in terms of political excitement.
So one last thing I want to ask you before I let you go, and that is that one of the things that Bibi Netanyahu has always been accused of is not appointing or setting up a successor and these kinds of things. Not that I expect him to do that this time, now, or forever, but is there someone that you can say that he would endorse that would take all those loyalists if he does move to the side and put them squarely toward one or two or three other candidates?
No, I mean, there are those who say that he would go against whoever the front runner is. There are those who would say that he would go against Barkat because Barkat would be independent and can pay for everything himself and not rely on him in any way, speaks English just like him. I don't see him getting involved. I see him focusing on his trial and also maybe even becoming this world leader that the world needs, of an elder statesman kind of thing that would guide the world at this troubled time and really move on from the internal petty politics inside Likud and become something special that can utilize his talents on a global scale.
Okay, and with that, I want to thank you, Gil, for taking time for us today. I really do appreciate it. And we look forward to, we're going to have an exciting week, I guess, or at least a week from now, we'll know what the story is, whether or not we're moving forward with or without former Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu.
Happy to talk to you next week. And the speaking tour in the spring is still on March 25th until the Passover Seder. I'm going to be in Florida, New Jersey, Chicago, LA, Chattanooga. I'm getting around somehow if they let me. So if anyone can have a talk about what's going on behind the scenes in Israeli politics, I'm still GIL at JPost.com.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Gil. We'll talk to you soon.